Hello students. So let's continue problems on statistics. That is, we are solving problems on mean. Okay, that is finding mean. So 30 women were examined in an hospital by a doctor, and the number of heartbeats per minute were recorded and summarized as follows. Find the mean heartbeats per minute for these women, choosing a suitable method. Okay, here the method which we are going to choose is again assume mean method, because our xi value is bit big and fi value is smaller. So let's use assume mean method itself. Okay, so first let's recreate the table. Number of heartbeats, number of heartbeats per minute. Okay, and the number of women, number of women, and obviously we need xi, and in assume mean method we have di, then fi di, isn't it? So fi di. Okay, so the first one is 65 to 68, then we have 68 to 71, then 71 to 74, then 74 to 77, 77 to 80, 80 to 80 to 83, 83 to 86. So fi, the value is given as 2, 4, 3, 8, 7, 4, 2. Okay, let's draw the table for this. Okay, so why we choose assume mean method is because xi value is bit larger, that is there in tens, and fi value is bit smaller. So let's use assume mean method. Okay, if both are small, then direct method. If one is bigger among them, then assume mean method. If both are larger, then we are going to use a step deviation method. Okay, so let's solve this. So xi value will be the middle value of the interval 65 to 68. The middle value is 65 plus 68 divided by 2. Okay, that gives us 133 divided by 2, which is 66.5. Okay, so the middle value will be 66.5. Here it is 66.5. In the next case, it is 69.5, then 72.5. Okay, 75.5, then 78.5, 81.5, and 84.5. It's very easy. You just add the upper limit and the lower limit and divide by 2, you get the xi. Okay, now we have to find the assumed mean. So assumed mean in this column, which is the middle value, it's obviously 75.5, isn't it? So this is our middle value. So on the top we have got 3 values, on the bottom we have got 3 values. So the middle value is 75.5. Okay, that is the assumed mean. Then we have to subtract from xi, right? So 66.5 minus 75.5. So we get 66.5, or let's take 77.5 minus 66.5. So we get 11, isn't it? Minus 11, the smaller minus bigger. So it is minus 11. Then 69.5 and 75.5. That will give us minus, how much? Minus 6. Yeah, minus 6. And 72.5, 75.5. That will give us minus 3. Then it is 0. Then 78.5 minus 75.5, that is 3. Then 81.5 minus 75.5, that will give us 6. 84.5, actually here 66.5, that will give us 9, isn't it? 4.5, 3.5, yeah, it is 9, and here we get 9. Okay, so let's multiply fi and di. So this is fi, so 9 twos are, so this is minus 9, minus 2, I mean 9 into 2 is 18, so minus symbol as it is, minus 24, minus 6 into 4, 3 into minus 3 is minus 9, 8 into 0 is 0, 7 threes are 21, 4 6 are 24, 9 twos are 18. Okay, now summation fi. So as you can see in the question itself, total 30 humans, right? So if you add this column also, you get 30 itself. Then summation fi di. So let's add everything, all the negatives. If you add it, minus 18, minus 84, minus 9. So we get minus 51, 18 plus 24, 32, 42, 42 plus 9 is 51. Yeah. And if you add all this, 13, 1 carry, so 8 plus 4 is 12, 12 plus 1 is 13, 3, 1 carry, 2 plus 1, 3, 3 plus 2 is 5, 5 plus 1 is 6. So we get 63. Okay. So plus 63. So plus 63 minus 51. If you combine these two things, plus 63 minus 51. So we get 12, isn't it? So if you add all those things, we get 12. Okay, now let's use the formula. X bar is given by the formula a plus summation fi di divided by summation fi. So what is the value of a? The value of a is 75.5 plus summation fi di is 12 and summation fi is 30. So 3 fours are 3 tens are. So it is 75.5 plus 4 by 10. 4 by 10 is actually 0.4. So 75.5 plus 0.4, that gives us 75.9. Therefore, the average or the mean heartbeat is how much? 75.9. So let's get into the next question. So the next question, in a retail market, fruit vendors were selling mangoes kept in packing boxes. These boxes contain varying number of mangoes. The following was the distribution of mangoes according to the number of boxes. Now we have to find the mean number of mangoes kept in packing box. It is the average number of mangoes per box. So which method are we going to use? Now if you observe carefully, the fi, that is the number of boxes, are the values are bit bigger, and the fi is also bit xi is also bit bigger. So let's use step deviation method. Okay, and one more interesting thing, if you observe here, the class interval is actually an inclusive method. That is, it starts from 50. Here the upper limit and the lower limit are not same, isn't it? But if you observe the previous question, they were same. So how to make this same? That is, this method is known as inclusive method. That is, the upper limit of an interval, if it is not equal to the lower limit of the next interval, so here you got 52, here you got 53, they are not equal, then this method is called as inclusive method. We have to convert this into exclusive method. In exclusive method, the upper limit and the lower limit, okay, upper limit of the previous one and the lower limit of the next one will be same. Okay, let's observe the previous question itself. If you observe the previous question, here you have 68, 68, 71, 71. They are same, right? This is called as exclusive method. But here in this question, the table is actually in inclusive method. So let's convert it. How do you convert it? Very simple. What is the difference between this 53 and 52? If you subtract it, how much do we get? We get 1, isn't it? Now take the half of this. What is half of 1? It is 0.5. So what we are going to do is, what was the difference? It was 1. So take half of it, that is 0.5. So we're going to subtract 0.5 to the lower limit, and we are going to add 0.5 to the upper limit. Okay, this is how we convert inclusive table to exclusive table. Subtract 0.5 to the lower limit, add 0.5 to the upper limit. Okay, so let's do that. So number of mangoes, in the next column it is number of boxes. Okay, so here we are going to find xi. Always in all the method we are going to find xi. Then we are also going to find di. Okay, then here in step deviation we are going to find something called as ui. Then we are going to multiply fi and ui. These are the things. Okay, now the first is 52. Now here itself, let's convert it. Okay, if I subtract 0.5 for the lower limit, 50 minus 0.5, that will become 49.5. Okay, if I add it, it will become 52.5. Okay, even here if I subtract 0.5 from 53, it becomes 52.5. Okay, and here it becomes 55.5. Now if you observe, this became 52.5, and this value, since you subtracted it 0.5, it became 52.5. Now if you observe 52.5, 52.5, both are same, isn't it? So that's why you have to subtract and add. The next one will be 55.5. If you subtract 0.5 from 56, then add 0.5, so it will become 58.5. Again, this will be 58.5, and this will be 61.5. This will be 62.5, and this will be 64. Sorry, this will be 61.5, and this will be 64.5. So as we can see here, we have made the inclusive table into exclusive. Okay, so let's construct the table now. Okay, let's move this a bit that side. Okay, yeah, now it's fine. Let's finish constructing this table. So here we are going to solve it by step deviation method, because both xi and fi both are large. That's why we are going to select step deviation method. Okay, yeah, so we finished constructing the table. So here fi is, this is actually fi, isn't it? Here it is 15, 110, 135, 135, 115, and 25. Okay, now let's find xi. How do we find xi? Add lower limit and upper limit. Okay, and divide it by 2. Okay, so it becomes 102 actually. Okay, 49.5 plus 52.5 is 102. Divided by 2, we get 51. Okay, so the middle value, okay, it becomes 51. 52.5 plus 55.5 divided by 2. Okay, that will become 54. It's really easy. You can add it and divide by 2. The next one will become, just add 3 to everything. Okay, that's it. This becomes 57, and this becomes 57 plus 360. Then this becomes 63. Okay, now let's find di. Now the middle value is actually 57, isn't it? So the assumed mean is 57. So subtract it, you get -6, -3, 0, +3, +6. Okay, now here we are not going to multiply fi and di. Okay, that is for assume mean method. Here we are going to find something called as ui. What is ui? If you remember, ui is actually, I had written it as di by h, but instead of di you can also take common factor of di. Okay, now if you observe in the di column, okay, which is the number that divides all this? It is actually 3, right? Okay, or even if you observe the class size, that is, if you subtract the upper limit and the lower limit, 52.5 minus 49.5, you get 3. Okay, so here also you get 3, and most of the time we don't take the class size. What we do is, in this column di, look at the numbers -6, -3, 0, 3, 6, which is that number that divides all these numbers. That is, we are trying to find the common factor, which is the common factor 3. So you got to know that the common factor is 3, divide by that. So -3, -6 divided by 3, that becomes -2. -3 divided by 3, that becomes -1. 0 by anything is 0. 3 by 3 is 1. 6 by 3 is 2. So here the common factor was 3. So each entry in di, so first -6 by 3, that gives you -2, then -3 by 3, that is -1, then 0 by 3, that is 0, then 3 by 3, that is 1, then 6 by 3, that is 2. So this is how we got ui. Okay, now once we get ui, let's multiply with fi. Okay, so fi into ui. So what is the value of fi? Fi is 15. 15 into -2 becomes -30. 110 into -1, it will become -110. 135 into 0, 0. 115 into 1, 115. 25 into 2, that becomes 50. Okay, summation fi. If you add all these things, how much do we get? Let's find it. 15 plus 110, 225. 225 plus 135, it becomes 360. 360 plus 115, 475, plus 25 becomes 500. Okay, so totally there are 500 boxes. Now let's find summation FIUI, isn't it? FIUI. Now if you add these two things, you get -140. If you add these two things, we get 165. So plus 165 minus 140 gives you 25. Okay, if you combine these two things, we get 25. So it will become 25. And let's use the formula. What is the formula? X bar is equal to A plus summation FIUI by summation FIUI divided by summation FI into H. H is a class size. Okay, A value is 57 plus summation FIUI is 25 divided by summation FI is 500 into class size is 3. So we did it earlier. H is upper limit minus lower limit. 52.5 minus 49.5, that gives you 3. Okay, that is the value of H. So here you can actually divide it. 25 ones are 25 twos are 50, 0 as it is. So it becomes 57 plus 3 by 20. Okay, so if you divide 3 by 20, X bar is equal to 57 plus 3 by 20. Okay, so 3 by 20, if you divide it in the working column, you get 0 0.1. Let me divide it. 20 outside, 3 inside, so 0.0. 21s are 20. Okay, 10 as a reminder, again a point. Okay, so 25s are 25, so it is 0.15. 0.15. Okay, so 57 plus 0.15 is 57.15. That is the number of mangoes per box. Okay, so let's get into the next question. Okay, again the next question. Here we can use the assume mean method itself because the xi is a bit bigger, but the fi is smaller, so you can directly use assume mean method. So let's construct the table. So daily expenditure that is in rupees. Okay, then number of households, and since we are doing it by assume method, we need xi, then we'll find di, then we'll multiply fi di, isn't it? So the first one is 100 to 150, then 150 to 200, then 200 to 250, then 250 to 300, 300 to 350. Okay, so number of households 4, 5, 12, 2 and 2. So let's construct the table. So in the exam, you might get any one question either based on mean or mode or median. Okay. If you are very good at any two of this, you need not practice all the three things also. If you are good at any two, mean and median or mode and median or mean and mode, okay, any two is enough. So one question will be there in the exam for 3 marks. Okay, now let's find xi. So between 100 and 150, which is the middle value, it's actually 125, or you can just add it. 100 plus 150 is 250. If you divide by 2, we get 125. So that's the value of xi. Okay, so let's write the value of xi. Xi will become 125 here. Then the next value between 150 and 200, the middle value is 175. Okay, now whatever the difference here, the difference is 50, right? 100 to 150. 50 is the difference. 150 to 200, 50 is the difference. That difference, you just keep adding it. So 125 plus 50, 175. 175 plus 50 is 225. 225 plus 50 is 275. 275 plus 50 is 325. Now the assumed value will be 225. That is the middle value, isn't it? So A will be 225. Let's find di. So you have to just subtract it. 125 minus 225 is minus 100. Then you get minus 50, because minus 175, sorry, minus 175 minus 225 gives you minus 50. Here it is 0, here it is 50, and here it is 100. Let's multiply. Minus 100 into 4 is minus 400. Minus 50 into 5 is minus 250. 0, 50 into 2 is 100. 100 into 2 is 200. So if you add these two, you get 300. And if you add these two, you get minus 650. So if you combine these two, we get minus 650 plus 300 gives you minus 350, isn't it? Therefore, summation fi di, summation fi di, that is equal to minus 350. Here, summation fi, it is given in the question itself that the 25 households are there. Even if you add it, you get, okay, 5 plus 4, 9, 9 plus 12 is 21, 21 plus 2 plus 2 gives you 25. Now let's use the formula. X bar is equal to A plus summation fi di divided by summation fi. Now A value is how much? 225. Okay, plus the value of fi di is minus 350 divided by summation fi. Fi is how much? 25. Now plus 225 as it is, plus into minus is minus, so we get 350 by 25. So we can actually divide it. 25 ones are 25, 25 ones are 25, 10 gets carried, so it becomes 100. 25 fours are 100, so it becomes 225 minus 14, that becomes 211. Okay, so therefore the mean daily expenditure on food is 211. So let's get into the next question. So in the next question, again, here let me continue here itself. However, the table is given vertically, so let me continue here itself. Okay, so here we're gonna solve it by, let's solve it by direct method itself. Okay, so we are solving by direct method. We need two more column. One is xi, other one is fi xi, isn't it? So let me solve it here itself. So let's find xi and fi xi. Okay, what is xi? The middle value. So 0.00 and 0.04. What is the middle value? It is actually 0.02. If you don't get it, just add it. 0.00 plus 0.04 divided by 2. How much you get? You get 0.04 itself. If you add it and divide by 2, you get 0.02. Okay, that will be the middle value. So here it is 0. First one will be 0.02. The next one, it is obvious, 0.06. Then 0.10. Okay, then 0.14. Then 0.0.18. Then it is 0.22. Okay, so we have found the xi. Then let's multiply fi xi. So 4 into 0.02, that will become 0.08. 9 into 0.06. Okay, so that will become 0.54. You can just check it out. See, 0.0, you just forget about the points. So 6 into 9 is how much? 54. Here actually it was 0.06, right? After point you got 2 digits. So after 2 digits, place a point. So it becomes 0.54. Okay. 9 into 0.10, it will become 0.90. This becomes 0.28. And this becomes 0.72. And this becomes 0.44. Okay. Now, summation fi. Summation fi, if I add everything, it was actually 30 localities. 9 plus 4, 13. 13 plus 9, 22. 22 plus 2 is 24. 24 plus 4 is 28. 28 plus 2 is 30. So we get 30 here. Let's add summation fi xi. Okay. Let's forget about the decimal. Okay. It is actually 8, 54, 90, 28, 72, 44. You can take it like this. So 8 plus 4, 12. 12 plus 8, 20. 20 plus 2, 22. 22 plus 4 is 26. So 2 carry. 5 plus 2, 7. 7 plus 9, 16. 16 plus 2, 18. 18 plus 7 is 25. 25 plus 4 is 25 plus 4 is 29. Okay. Actually it was 0 point, right? So everywhere you have 0. So 2 would have been carry here. So 2 comes here. So it becomes 2.96. Okay. If we add everything, it will become 2.96. So when you added it, you got 296, right? So after 2 digits, if you have to place decimal, it becomes 2.96. Okay. So 2.96. So that is summation fi xi. So let's find x bar, which is summation fi xi divided by summation fi. So summation fi xi is 2.96 divided by 30. Now, you can keep it as it is or you can reduce it. Okay. So if I take decimals to the other side, if I remove the decimals, okay, so it becomes 296. Since after decimal you got 2 digits, so you have to put 2 zeros in the denominator. So it actually becomes 296 by 3000. So you can divide it 3000 and 296. Obviously it is not divisible. So if you, let me write it properly, 3296. So you can't divide it. So keep a, place a decimal, you get a 0. Still you can't divide it. So place another 0 and take another 0. Okay. So roughly around 9s. Okay, because 3000 into 9s is 27,000. Okay, so you get 2600. Again, since you have placed a decimal, you can take a 0. Again, roughly 8s. 24,000, you get 2000 here. Again, if you take a 0, it becomes 6 18,000. Okay, 2000 is a reminder. 6 keeps on going. Okay, so you, actually you get 0.98666 keeps on going. So you can round it off as 67. Okay, that will be the average. So let's get into the next question. So the next question, a class teacher has the following absentee record of 40 students. So total number of students is 40 for a class. Okay. Find the mean number of days a student was absent. That is the average number of days that the student was absent. Now let's reconstruct the table. So number of days, number of number of students. And which method are we going to solve? Let's take assume mean method, because xi value are a bit large. So let's take assume mean method. So you will have xi, then di, then fi di, isn't it? So number of days. So it becomes, they've given it as 0 to 6, then 6 to 10, 10 to 14, 14 to 20, then 22, 28, 28 to 38, 38 to 48. So number of students is 11, 10, 7, 4, 4, 3, 1. Okay. Now let's construct the table for this. Whichever method it is, we always find xi. Okay, here xi will be, what is the middle value from 0 to 6? It is actually 3. 0 plus 6 is 6. 6 divided by 2 is what? 3. Then between 6 to 10, it will be 8. Okay, if you just add 6 plus 10 is what? 16. 16 by 2 is 8. Okay. Okay, next 10 to 15, it will be 10 to 14. So if you added 14 plus 10, 24, 24 by 2 is 12. Then it is 14 plus 20. Sorry, 10 plus, yeah, 14 plus 20 is 34, 34, 20. Okay, here, once again, if you observe this table, once again, we are not supposed to find xi here. Here, if you observe, okay, any of it is an exclusive method itself, so let's find it. So it will become 3, 6 plus 10 is 16, 16 by 2 is 8, 24 by 2 is 12, 34 by 2 is 17, 48 by 2 is 24, 30, 50, 66 by 2, 33, and 38 plus, sorry, this is actually 38 to 40, isn't it? So 78 by 2 is 39. So here we have to be very careful, because the intervals are of not same size. If you observe, it is 0 to 6, the class size is 6 here. Here all, but here it is 4, here it is 4, and here it is 6. It is changing. Okay, so you have to be very careful in finding xi. Okay, now let's find di. The middle value will become 17. So a value, that will be equal to 17. Okay, a value 17. Let's subtract it. 3 minus 17 minus 14. 8 minus 17, that becomes minus 9, minus 5, 0, 7. So again, 13 plus 13, 16, 22. Okay, so this is what we get. Now let's multiply. So this becomes minus 154, minus 90, minus 35, 0, 28, 48, 22. Okay, so if we add all those things, we get minus 1, 9, 9 plus 5, 14, 14 plus 3, 17, minus 279. If we add all those things, we get minus 279. Yeah, and if you add all those things, 98. Okay, and minus 279 plus 98. Okay, it becomes 100 and 81 minus 181. Yeah, minus 181. So summation fi di will become minus 181. So let's cancel this. So here summation fi. So the total number of students according to the question were 40. So even if you add this, you should get 40. Let's choose the formula. X bar is equal to a plus summation fi di by summation fi. So a value is 17 plus summation fi di is minus 181 and summation fi is 40. Okay, 17 minus 181 divided by 40. So let's divide it. Let's divide it by 10. 4 tens are 40. Okay, 4 tens are 40. 4 fours are 16, 2 carry. It becomes 21. 4 fives are 20. 1 is the remainder. If I place a decimal, it becomes 10. 4 twos are 8. 2 is the remainder. Since you have placed a decimal, you can take 0. It becomes 20. Okay, it becomes 45.25. 17 minus 45.25 divided by 10. 45.25 divided by 10 becomes 4.525. Okay, if you subtract this, it becomes 12.475. Okay, so that will be the answer. 12.475. That's the average number of days that the student were absent. Okay, so let's get into the final question. So in this final question, again, the table is given. Here we have to find the mean literacy rate. Okay, so let's construct the table. Literacy rate, that is 45 to 55. So 55 to 65. Then it becomes 65 to 75, 75 to 85, 85 to 95. And the number of cities. Even this, let's do it by assume mean method itself. Okay, because xi is a bit large. 3, 10, 11, 8, 3. Okay, so here we have to find xi, then di, then fi di. Okay, so let's construct the table. You can do this mean by any method. Okay, and you will get the answer same itself. Somewhere plus or minus 2.2 will have difference. Otherwise, you will have the same answer. Okay, let's find xi. How do we find xi? Upper limit plus lower limit divided by 2. So 55 plus 45, it is actually 100. 100 by 2 is 50. Okay, so it is 50, and here it will be 55. Between 55 and 65, what is the middle value? 60. Then here it is 70, here it is 80, and here it is 90. Now di will be what? 70 will be, a will be 70. So if you subtract it, 50 minus 70, minus 20, minus 10, 0, 10, and 20. So minus 20 into 3, minus 60, minus 10 into 10, minus 100, 0 into 11, 0, 10 into 8, 80, 90 into 3, 270. So if you add these two things, you get 350. And if you add these two things, you get minus 160. So combining these two things, we get 140, 190. Okay, you get it as plus 190. So summation fi di is plus 190. Summation fi is, according to the question, 35 cities. So this should be 35. And summation fi di, that will be equal to plus 190. Now let's use the formula. X bar is a plus summation fi di divided by summation fi. So a value is 70 plus 190 divided by 35. Okay, let's divide by 5 tables. 5 sevens are 5 threes are 15, 4 carry, 5 eights are. So you got 38 by 7. So 38 by 7 is roughly around 7 ones are 7, 7 fives are 35. So 3 is the remainder. If I place a decimal, it becomes 30. 7 fours are 28. 2 is the remainder. Since you have placed a decimal, you can take a 0. It becomes 20. 7 twos are 14. Okay. So 6 is the remainder. Again, 7 eights are 56. So it becomes 5.428. You can take it as 5.43. Okay. 70 plus 5.43. That becomes 75.43. That's the average literacy rate. Okay. So I've just rounded off to 70, 5.43. Okay. So we have completed with the problems on the first exercise. That is the problems on mean. In the next video, we'll be starting with mode. And okay, once again, I've done a small mistake here. It should be actually 20 into 3, right? So here you get 60. Okay, I made a mistake. So this gets changed. So it becomes minus 20. So we have to be very careful in adding. So it becomes minus 20 divided by 35. So it becomes minus 20 divided by 35. 5 fours are 5 sevens are. Okay. 4 by 7, whatever you get, subtracted, you get the final answer. Okay. So in the next video, let's start with the next exercise, that is mode. Thank you, students.